Alright guys, let's move on to blocking more body parts. So you wanted to figure out where the breast is. You can make the size of the head the same as our snapshot. And then you can move on down to make the bottom of the chin touching the other the snapshot, and you move it away slightly, and you can see that's where the breast will be of this bottom chin here. Okay, so you can draw that out. You can start with 2 spheres. Okay, depending on the size, you can go bigger or smaller. Okay, and then you can blend them to the outer edge of the body of the torso here. Blend them that way and blend them to the surroundings. Generally speaking, depending on the size, the shape could be very different from the side view, depending on the size of the breasts, because of the weight that is happening. I'm not gonna go crazy big, so just some normal generic size will be good enough. Okay, so I'm just gonna make it somewhere around this. I'm gonna drag the tip forward to create like a more like a, I don't know how to say it, like sharper bodge, right? And then the bottom will have a nicer arc dripping down. The top will also have an arc going up. Okay, and you have the tip up here. Okay, and then you can make the surrounding wrap around it nicely. Okay, now another thing you want to pay attention to is here in the middle. First of all, you have a bone here in the middle, and that bone is called sternum or breastbone, basically. So the breast is kind of like almost touching that bone. Okay, so you don't have a lot of gap between the breasts, but there is gonna be a gap. But also you wanted to think about how does the breast would look like eventually when you have garment, because the garment will push them in, right? The garment will push them in. Sometimes you can see it's more like this eventually, could be, right? So you don't want to spread those 2 big volumes out that much. And also from the top view, you can see they're pointing kind of like this direction, right? Okay, all right, so let me just fill in a little bit more volume, give it the nice arc, give them the arc. Okay, all right, so again here this bone is connected like this, so you have the 2 clavicle, right? So the bone that does actually connect to the bottom of those 2 clavicles and going in, right? And then you just have those goes down, gets a little bit bigger here, and then you just have a little tip at the very end, right? Again, this is some anatomy structure that you can know, but you don't really want it to pay that much attention to those guys yet, or eventually you don't even, I don't think you should pay a lot of attention on these smaller structures. You know where they are, you know what they contribute to the bigger shape, and that's it, right? You don't really try to remember or try to mimic everything of there in a lot of detail, because they are also hidden underneath the tissue on top of them, right? So more like a triangle bodge here would be good enough. Okay, all right, now moving down to the crystal margin here, coastal margin here, right? You can then start to define where they are more precisely after the breasts. Okay, and now it's a good time to really look at your reference and see how this margin looks like, right? It is there. That's not the end of the story. You kind of have to then be able to make that shape believable. And as far as I know, you can try to memorize as much as you can, but there's always new things to learn. And so that means a reference would always be good, trying to see what's going on here, right? Look at your reference, copy something, and of course you should know their name already, but still you kind of wanted to copy the shape from the reference. At least for a realistic character, you just don't have you just cannot really make everything from memory, right? I'm not a very good guy at memorizing a lot of stuff. I hate chemistry class because there are a lot of things to remember. I like physics more because physics you just have a handful of equations and you can do a lot of things already. Anyway, let me smooth out the back also. Okay, so mind where this is, right? Find out the primary shapes of the coastal margin. And moving on to the back, though, you have the biggest muscle on the human body, right? And that guy is called latissimus dorsi. Okay, dorsi, whatever. Or in Chinese term, we call it big back muscle, or wide or broad back muscle, because it's broad, it's in the back. I guess that's the same meaning of the Latin words. I'm not sure, but it has to mean something, right? I don't think that's a random word either, but but that's really big. Okay, so what it goes is, it's actually going from the bottom of another muscle on top, but I always mark this out first. So this guy wraps around the back and it looks like this, right? It goes in and it connects to the top of the pieces. Okay, so you can then try to refine the position of the pieces on the back. Okay, right, so something like this. Okay. All right. And you can even enhance the contour of it. Okay. All right, so it goes all the way connected to the inside of the bone, from the arm, and it goes from the center, right? Oops. Okay. Now I'm not gonna make those muscles super visible. I'm marking them out now, but I may choose to smooth those later on. But yeah, that's this muscle here. Okay, this part. Okay. So this is not a anatomy class, so I'm not gonna go too deep. And oftentimes, I do reference a lot of anatomy material when I'm sculpting, because I hate trying to memorize everything. There's always new things to learn down the way. Okay, and here on the outside of this muscle, you have another muscle called another set of muscles called external oblique. Okay, these guys goes from the back to the front, all the way connected to the front. Okay, okay. So you can also just think of this part as a big badge here, but they're not gonna be super big, especially for female characters. They're almost like invisible, really subtle up there. Okay, I need to make this guy just a little bit wider up here. Okay, and smooth that out. Right, now wrapping around to the front, those are all those external oblique, and connect to the middle, where is the belly, right? And for the belly, you have a rounded padding here. Smooth that out after that. And I'm not gonna make the six-pack because I'm not gonna make a super strong character by any means, but I can have the volume there. So this middle part is like a donut shape. Right. All right, and moving down, you have the abdomen beneath it. Okay. Now you can use move to tweak their positioning. Right. And here on the top is pretty flat. Okay. So here, if you look at some people, some reference, when you are drawing breasts, this can go in quite a bit. Okay, which is quite interesting to look at. Anyway, so sometimes look at some of the movements will be really helpful too. Okay, so after that, moving down here, if you want to understand it with simpler manner, you can just think about those three big mass. This one, this one, and that, and the surroundings are weaker than these. So you mark these guys out. In the middle, you're just having smaller up and downs. Copy your reference. No, I don't have any problem. I have no problem copying. I think copying is the right way to do the anatomy sculpting, because you just don't know the detail, right? You cannot remember, you know, a lot of things, and more importantly, they're different on different character. So anyway, I think I make that too visible. That's not my intention here, so I'm gonna blur it out a little bit more. Okay, because there are more things than just the bone structure or the muscle structure, because you have other things happening right on the body. Anyway, so now we have basically, I think I basically covered all the important muscles on the human body, right? So let's review that. Hopefully this auto saving will go through. Whoops. So I think my ZBrush crashed, but it's gonna save it. So I'm gonna pause the video and reopen it. Okay. And let's actually break this video, right? In the next video, I can go ahead and keep blocking some of the important muscles. I think I forgot one thing here on the top, which is called the trapezius. Okay, up here. So we're gonna do that in the next video. Okay, see you next time.